Who's afraid of Mercury retrograde? It's in fashion to blame Mercury retrograde for everything, even for things Mercury doesn't rule, but Mercury really can't affect that many things. Think paper cuts, not stab wounds. Mercury is the planet of little things, so Mercury retrograde affects little things. It causes misunderstandings, misinterpretations, mistakes, and missing details. That doesn't mean that these little things could be the catalyst to a big problem, like not reading a contract thoroughly before signing, but it doesn't cause tsunamis or deadly epidemics. The best thing to do is to take on less and be patient. This isn't a time to stretch yourself or juggle a lot of things. It is a time, however, to focus on fewer things that require more dedicated observation. Instead of completing all the tasks on your to-do list and screwing them up, focus on one or two big things, and don't sweat the small stuff. What if you were born during Mercury retrograde? If you were born during Mercury retrograde, you may have an unusual style of communicating or thinking. For many, speech may have come very early or very late, and or wasn't entirely clear to others. Some write much better than they speak or vice versa. You may have penetrating insights, but have trouble expressing them or getting others to understand what you mean. People born during Mercury retrograde actually handle differently than others, and tend to thus come to different conclusions. You may be very intelligent, but struggle in formal education, or you may find it much easier to teach yourself than to take instruction from another person. Generally speaking, people with Mercury retrograde are no more or less intelligent because of it, but are likely, especially in their early years, to be mistaken for disabled, learning impaired, or neurologically challenged. Some may be autistic or misdiagnosed as autistic, since Mercury retrograde also creates sensitivity to the details of life, including sensory ones. These people tend to have an odd sense of humor. They may like the absurd, non sequiturs and the surreal, or particularly sadistic humor. They also tend to find humor in things others don't and may be laughing or smiling to themselves over their own humorous thoughts. However, Mercury retrogrades don't really bother these people. In fact, they can accomplish a lot, because they know instinctively how to use retrograde energy and how to navigate the world through this type of fog. A lot of people who have Mercury retrograde in their charts may not even notice a difference. Some of them, however, find that they do their best thinking during the retrogrades. How do retrogrades work? They don't, or at least they don't at the beginning. The planet appears to stop moving in the sky or to go stationary. Then, it goes backward, then stops, then goes direct again. Before that, however, the planet enters a shadow period or passes the degree that it will retrograde back to before it goes direct again. For example, Mercury goes retrograde in Aries in late March this year, going from Aries at 16 degrees to Aries 4 degrees. Before that, however, Mercury is going direct and is at Aries 4 degrees on March 9th. This is the beginning of the shadow period, and it ends on May 3rd, when the moon is at Aries 16 again. The shadow period is the entire time where Mercury retrograde's effects start creeping in, getting stronger during the actual retrograde, then tapering off until the end of the shadow. Thus, the whole retrograde period can last almost 1 month, even if the actual retrograde is about 3 weeks long. What is the significance of Mercury? Mercury is the planet of communication and connectivity on this material plane of existence. It represents our ability to express and share ideas, feelings, and thoughts. Mercury is related to speech, communication, vocabulary, clarity of speech and words, expressiveness, intelligence, maths, algebra, IQ, our involuntary reflexes, organizing information, and sharing it in a presentable and understandable format. Information itself is also the domain of Mercury, and it represents logic and mathematics in general. Although maths needs a good Saturn as well. Effects of Mercury retrograde. Retrograde Mercury enhances the abstract abilities of the planet, but at the same time puts obstacles in terms of achieving the physical or material manifestations of Mercury. As per the abstract qualities, people with a retrograde Mercury have a very smart and logical mindset inside. They know the various types of expressions and expressional skills, good at planning managerial tasks and managing people, good at calculating the outcomes of a situation quickly. But, there's a big but. When it comes to showing off or with the material manifestations, they may face a lot of trouble at expressing what they really wish to express and say. They may be poor in vocabulary or choice of words and expressing themselves to the world. They may shy off from showing off their abilities and skills to others, or even overthink on a lot of small things. They may feel it is unnecessary to show off or display their abilities. They would show off themselves from the results of their hard work. In severe cases, if some other combinations like the third house and Lord are not well placed, problems like stuttering and stammering can occur. Difficulty expressing one's actual ideas and thoughts. Problems in running one's business, especially when it comes to advertising or promoting it. Delays and interruptions in seamlessly sharing and communicating ideas and business goals can be seen. In addition, a general retrograde transit of Mercury can cause delays or interruptions in communication systems or networks on a mundane plane, with internet or telecommunication services and devices malfunctioning, depending upon the placement of Saturn and Venus as well.